Testing, testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. All right, testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. You guys have no idea. All right, let's see. Can you guys hear me all right? Rose, Tavares, you guys hear me all right?
You
Yep.
sound good. Got you.
All right, all right. Folks, we are live streaming on da 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 da. Well, maybe if I click the button, we can actually live stream. I'm telling you, man, I need a situation where you just walk into the studio and all this stuff is set up. So we're live streaming on Instagram, YouTube, uh, what else? Clubhouse, Pornhub. Um, no, I'm just kidding. We're not on
Too
Pornhub.
early.
We're not
Too
on we're
early.
not on Pornhub. All right. My name is Otis James. I'm a full-time real estate investor out of the San Francisco Bay Area, licensed real estate broker in a couple states, former mortgage broker, spent the better part of 20 years in the multifamily commercial industry, was a former notary with a national signing agent company back in the day. On the non-real estate related side, I took just under $600, created a company that went on to generate seven figures. I'm a long-term hold investor, founder of the Four Data Points Academy, where we take people from zero knowledge all the way until savvy real estate investor. And then they still hang out with us and we just start doing some cool stuff. Maybe we build some stuff, maybe we invest together. But this topic is, well, it's important because in our real estate family, a lot of people come to our real estate family after being in other programs. And and some of them don't have great experiences. So I figured we'll probably go about 45 minutes. And then after we can talk about any real estate related items that you guys want to. But I figure I'd show people how to vet these mentors and coaches. Now, first I want to say it's just because you don't have a good experience with a mentor or a coach doesn't mean that that mentor or coach had bad intentions. Maybe they're good at what they do and maybe they just don't know how to teach it. Or maybe they've never ran a company, started a company before, so they're just not good at it. Right. And I've run into that a lot. I've heard people talk about some of these other programs. And I actually had to defend the other program because the other program did exactly what they said that they were going to do. The fact that you don't get the real world results isn't the fault of the program because you know what you're paying for, right? And if you don't know what you're paying for, then you shouldn't make a financial decision like that. So I'm going to give you guys some clarification um, on some of the things that you need to take into consideration, some of the things that you need to ask. Real quick, who we got here? Tavares, man, tell everybody where you're from, sir.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tavares from the San Francisco Bay Area. I am a health and transformation educator, founder of the Body Synthesis. I also serve here as the manager of student relations. Spent 10 and a half years in the multifamily industry, leasing everything from residential up to high rise luxury, also leased from the Bay Area to Los Angeles, Encino to be specific, and have known Otis and James, over 38 years and counting. And look, happy to be here, man. Happy to be here. Grateful to be in this position to be here with all of you. So let's do it. Let's get it.
Let's jump in. Rose, when it comes to managing debt, which is something that we use responsibly, we're supposed to. Rose is one of the people that I trust to help people, to give people access to certain types of funding. But she does it the right way, right? She's not on the internet in Timberlands and a hoodie talking about, if you form an LLC, you can, yeah, she's really good about it. Rose, tell everybody who you are and where you're from, real quick.
I got a pair of Tims, but nah, I'm not out there in
Well,
the snow
you
talking
from
about
East you from East Coast, so all y'all got Tims. We don't wear those out here.
we got Tims. Listen, I'm in South Florida, so
Oh, you ain't
sister
just
state,
wearing no
sister
damn
state.
Tims out
Yeah,
there.
barely. I barely pull out the Tims, and I got the knee high joint, so yeah, barely use it.
Okay,
Anyway,
all
hey,
right.
hey everyone. My name is Rosa Laura Lewis, also known as Credit Goddess. I am all things credit, credit score improvement strategist, business credit coach, and I'm a business purpose loan broker. I help my clients get in the best position for funding, like Otis said, the right way. Because listen, we don't got no time to be going through trial and error. We got to go about it the right way so that way we can pass the right information down to our children and towards down to our legacy, if we're talking about building generational wealth, it has to be done the right way. Okay, so I'm here for that. I'm all here. So I've been rocking and rolling with Otis since the beginning of first season of Clubhouse. That's 2020.
Yes.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it's going on 5 years. Can you believe that?
It's going on 5 years. You know, a
Yes,
lot of people ain't make
crazy.
it. They didn't make it.
They sure did
All the
it.
programs and all types of, you know.
Oh, listen, I guess that this goes with the topic because, you know, like you said, they just been in and out, you know.
Yeah,
They
look,
didn't make it.
these people will drag you through the mud if you ain't got your stuff together, boy.
That's true.
I didn't see some people exit really, really quietly.
Really quick.
Y'all out there doing them arbitrage
Oh, you remember it was
Airbnbs.
going, oh, it was heavy on this app. Oh my God. Heavy.
No offense. I do know people that made good money and are still making money on that. But look, there's a way to go about this stuff, man. This is not just a hobby that we picked up in the lobby. This is something that you know, I've been exposed to real estate my entire life. I know how hard these things are. I know how to mitigate risk. And even then, even when I control all the controllables, there's still things beyond our control that we have to be able to have a contingency plan for. And you're not going to hit everyone out the park. You will take some losses. It's just a matter of when. So beware, folks. James, what's going on, brother? James Lewis.
Going once.
Going twice.
What's going on, man? I gotta switch screens.
I know, man. I know. And plus, they ain't got no Wi-Fi in Planned Parenthood, so I know you're doing you're on your cellular.
They ain't got Planned Parenthood. Hey, they ain't got Planned Parenthood in Colombia, man. You get pregnant, you have the kid.
You are having that child.
I heard that.
All right, sorry about that, folks. With one joke, all credibility was lost. James, tell everybody who you are, where you're from, man.
Hey, I got my braces taken off, so you got to excuse the lisp.
Did you?
Congratulations.
Did you? I should send you the link to the YouTube, and so we can see you.
I gotta get the. Yeah, I got to do the little micro thing now. Anyways, good morning, everybody, or afternoon, depending on where you are. It's afternoon where I'm at. My name is James Lewis. I am, I bring the business aspect, or what I call business acumen, to real estate. I have a lot of real estate clients, and that's what I bring to the 4 Data Points Academy. I like to say to people that if you don't have employees, I am a coach. And if you do, then me and my team, we are consultants. And really what I focus on is really 7 pillars to what I focus on. And there's things like values, which is really what it starts with, building your business around that. I focus on processes. I focus on building your team. I focus on the components and the skill sets you need to be good at your business in the first place. I focus on being data-based. I focus on creating good plans, and I focus on how do you create accountability in and around your business. And the thing is, real estate is a business like every other. And when you look around at the most successful real estate investors, they're really successful because they're great business people. And it's interesting, when Otis was doing his intro, he was talking about how he took $600 and he created this business. And look, he's a real estate investor, but at the end of the day, he's a business person like any other. And so, I really help folks think about how do you move and how do you act, and what state of mind should you be in as a business person. And so that's what I bring to this conversation, and to every real estate aspect of things. And I do that from sunny, warm Colombia, South America. Y'all are freezing out there where y'all are.
Well, we're in Cali, so
Yeah,
it's not freezing,
Yeah.
But thanks for rubbing it in our face. I will say this. A lot of people ask me about that. They, because part of my intro is I spent $585 and created a company that went on to generate 7 figures. And this is actually a good lesson about how that came to be. Like there's a good lesson surrounding that. And it was a real estate transaction. And that real estate transaction, I was operating. It was the last time I ever represented someone else. It was a listing that I took, and I didn't take a lot of listings at the time, but I did this And I took this listing, and the seller wanted to sell this house for 1.2 million, and I told the seller that's not what it's going to sell for. It's not. It's just not. But seller was adamant about it, so we listed it at 1.15. And I said, okay, well, if nobody's buys it at 1.15, but we don't get any offers, we know it wouldn't have sold for 1.2. I told them it will sell for a million. I said I can get you a million for this house. If it was not, there was no personal relationship there, I probably wouldn't have took it. But and so I put my own money into fixing up the yard and giving it a facelift and this and that, and it wasn't selling in 28 days. It hadn't sold yet, and I already knew. And we should have been walking it to the market, right? Which means you reduce it based on the feedback that the market gives you. And so after 28 days, they started hinting, the seller started hinting, like it was something that I was doing. And so I said, you know what, I'll just let you out of the contract. And they were, I think they had the best intentions, right? Because they were like, okay, well, we'll make you whole for what you spent already. And I said, you know what, no, keep it. And that was the last transaction that I ever did. That was a $25,000 commission. So I went back home to my desk, and I remember sitting at the desk, and I wasn't very happy about it. On a few levels, I just wasn't very happy about it. And I said, you always go back to, the basics, right? And I said, Lord, I don't know what you got. I know that there's always silver lining and everything happens for a reason and all this stuff, but I know you didn't create me to feel like this, though. That I do know. Like, I'm better than this. And 2 minutes later, I got this idea. And I can't go into detail because there's some conflict of interest stuff with it, but I'll say this: the idea involved something that I had never been involved in, ever, no experience in. It required, equipment and a bunch of stuff that I didn't have. When I say zero knowledge, I had less than zero knowledge. As a matter of fact, I would have joked about this had I not, had I not been going through the experience. I would have joked about doing this thing. But basically, I used the outsourcing business model. I found people that were already doing it, and I'm already a good marketer. So I just created the front, and every time I got a request or an order, I just paid them to do it and then marked the price up 40%. And I have relationships in a bunch of different states, especially in my industry. So I was able to really accomplish something, and that went on to generate seven figures. And the lesson is, in entrepreneurship, there's a lot of things that don't go right, right? The stress level is like, you really got to be built for this. And I could have spent all day missing that $25,000, but that $25,000 would have been the worst thing that could have happened to me at the time, because I'd have got that $25,000, been happy, and then went on about my business. But because I didn't get that $25,000, I wouldn't have said that prayer. The idea wouldn't have came. And I actually took a lot of that money and funneled it into real estate. And that's a big reason of why I'm at where I'm at, so soon, right? So, part of the journey, I call it the seasoning process. When things don't go right, just learn from it and move on. Don't let that thing have power over you and your decision making process, right? Focus on the good and making more money, and don't dwell on the negative stuff. And that's something that I really had to take to heart, especially mentoring 350 people. Their stress is my stress too. And because there's no end date in our program and we offer unlimited support, I'm going to stress out with them until they get it. Right? It may take 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, five, whatever it is. So anyway, a little tidbit, but that's off topic. We are going to talk about how to vet mentors. And I said earlier that, just because you have a bad experience with a coach or a mentor doesn't mean that they had bad intentions. Go ahead, James.
Hey, I know you said this is off topic, but I really don't think it is. So, part of that story that you talked about was, I don't know how much you went into detail on that, but about how you had this conversation with God about, hey man, I know this ain't why you, I know this ain't why you put me here, right? And just kind of how you were feeling in that moment.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much you want to elaborate on that, but you and I talk often about who you need to be as a real estate investor. And, I have similar conversations with people about just being a business person and as a leader. Most of my conversations with people, yeah, they are about, there's just like this, it's like the difference between tactical and strategic, right? It's not always about the nuts and the bolts and, what you're going to do. It's about how you're going to do it in the headspace you need to be in. So, I just think that that's an important part of that story is how that headspace you were in and that conversation you had with God, man. And I don't know how much you want to elaborate on that piece of it, Dan, but I just think that's a really big piece of real estate, man, because one of the things we always talk about is as real estate investors, we buy problems for a living. And so there's a whole bunch of stress that comes with that. And so there's a whole bunch of these moments that are that you're willingly gonna buy into, that are gonna put yourself in some headspaces that aren't necessarily gonna be the greatest.
No, yeah, and that's always what I have to go back to, man. I go back to two things. One is, if I'm stressed out, I have a like my temperament doesn't align with how the world works today with respect to feedback on like social media and all this, just the stupidity that's out there. Like I'm not good with that. And I will overreact. A lot of people just don't know that because that's the old me that I, suppressed, right? But anytime I can feel that coming back up, and now I have the resources to be able to do some real damage, which makes it even worse for me, right? And one of the things that are extremely important about achieving any level of success is you have to be the bigger person. You have to learn how to be the bigger person, and it does not feel good. Like I had we were doing one clubhouse room. We were doing one clubhouse room. I think it was maybe it was a year before last or whatever. It was me, and then it was Grant Cardone, and we were going back and forth. And Grant had his opinion, which differed than my opinion, and I was explaining what my opinion is, and there was one or two other people in the room that are just that ride other dudes' coattails, right? Like that are just weak in that are cut from that cloth that where they just I'm trying not to use profanity here, but I'm gonna say I'll say no, I'm not gonna. I'm not. You know what I'm trying to say? Like those dudes that are always giddy around other men, right? And that are
Yes,
just
Yeah, we know what you mean, man.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
you
yeah.
good.
So this person said a comment, and it was just a comment, kind of riding Grant's coattail, and I gracefully kind of bow out of certain situations because I know what it is. I know people have agendas and things, and I always stand and I'm very good at defending my point and articulating that defense. But this person that did it, I was going to ruin. I was going to ruin this person just because they had the nerve, and somebody had to talk me off the ledge. And it wasn't even a disrespectful comment. Like nobody noticed it, but the fact that he was comfortable enough to say it had me in a feeling a way for weeks. I was going to ruin this person, and that's and the only person that loses when you're thinking that way is me, right? There's no good that comes out of that, and that's I'm trying to evolve into where I can insulate myself from all of these other things and disrespect. I'm still working on that, and I think that's going to be a struggle the rest of my life. Um, but that was, that's an issue for me, right? I don't have the temperament to play around. James, I'm born in the 70s. I remember when there was no internet. You said something to somebody, you could get smacked in the mouth. So there's certain things I didn't say to people because I didn't want to get smacked in the mouth. That's the way the
Sure.
world worked, you know what I'm saying? And now it's a little different, man.
Yeah,
So
man. When we was wrong, it's like you literally roll up to somebody's house. Like that's what you did. Like it was like
yeah,
we wasn't. It wasn't thumbs.
yes, yes. And I've been punched in the face before, and I wasn't really a good fighter as a kid. So I've been punched in the face. It doesn't feel good, right? So it's just this thing for me. I look like I have it together professionally, right? Which I do, but it's not just professionally that matters. It's your personal life and your way of being. And sometimes we bring a lot of stress on ourselves unnecessarily. So I have to go back to God and be like, look, God, I don't deserve any of this stuff that you're giving me, right? And I'm gonna let you deal with that person, right? This person disrespected me. I'm pissed off. Lord, I'm gonna let you deal with that person. Go ruin that person, right? Matter of fact, kill them. Matter of fact, I want to watch. And then the Holy Spirit will come down and say, hey, look, you was out there cutting up too. And by your logic, I should have ended you a long time ago. And then I'm like, oh, okay, well, touche, right? All I was saying was, you know what I'm saying? I start backtracking, right? Because I'm such a mess. And so I always go back to God and then what I'm grateful for, right? At the end of the day, real estate don't matter. I don't, real estate, this is just a Tuesday for me, right? I'm not impressed with this stuff. You guys see a certain level of success. My definition of success is different. Um, so that's the thing. That's what I'm getting at. I'm not gonna beat that horse to death, but I'm trying just like everybody else, right? I go through the same stuff everybody else goes. I just don't broadcast it to the entire world. I do broadcast it to people that I'm mentoring because growth comes from the losses and the mistakes. It doesn't come from success, right? It doesn't come from the successes and the cars and all that other stuff, right? All that stuff is stupid and it'll distract you and it'll discourage you if you're chasing those things, right? And in a world where everybody has something to sell you, everybody wants here, you can make $1 million, you can make $1 million. Half of y'all, if you including me, if I made let's say I had an opportunity at a certain point, I'm not talking about now because I've already evolved, but at a certain point, if you'd have gave me $1 million, I'd have destroyed myself. I'd have destroyed myself. I'd have been on the Mafi coast, probably on drugs, on Molly, on a wondering how I got on this boat. Right. Right. But as long as you're trying and making an effort, I think that's important. And a lot of these mentors and coaches out there, I see that they are trying and making an effort. They're just not good at it. Right. I've paid 5 figures to some of these folks that presented themselves in a certain way. And I paid them to do something so I could focus elsewhere. And it ended up falling through. And it is what it is. I needed that to happen so that I can change my way of being and change the way I do business with respect to bringing people in my circle, right? But I'm not attached to money. So, the lesson was more valuable than that little $10,000 I paid or whatever. And and I move forward. Right. But now when I have people that are considering spending money with somebody, and that's a huge responsibility, by the way, man. Like these people out there scamming, that is so short-sighted. I don't know how are they still around? Like I get it. You can scam and make some money one time. Maybe you do it twice, but these people will drag you in the mud. They'll drag through the mud, they'll drag you through the mud. So but a criminal is going to be a criminal, and criminals ain't smart anyway. But again, I want to make the distinction. Just because you have a bad experience with somebody doesn't mean they're a criminal. Doesn't mean they have bad intentions. It could just mean that they're not good at it, right? And that's just the way it is. So here's how we vet them, right? And I'll use myself as an example. I encourage people to vet me, right? I understand that people don't always know what questions to ask because when they're asking questions, those questions are derived from their limited knowledge of the thing, right? And the thing is the reason they want a mentor or a coach in the first place. So I made it a practice to ask the hard questions so people don't have to when I'm having that conversation. All right. Now, I'm going to break this down into seven areas, right? When you're talking to a coach or a mentor, the first is their experience and track record. We'll talk about that. The second is their teaching and their mentorship approach, right? So I'm a real estate guy, so investment strategies and deal structuring, right? Asked about that. And then results and accountability. That's one topic, and I'm going to take a deep dive into each of these, right? Ethics and transparency. That's a big one for me, man. That's a big one. Ethics and transparency, pricing and commitment, and then industry reputation and credibility. Okay. Now, if you guys have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. But and Tavares, if you could kind of watch the chat and go ahead and interrupt me if I go too long without answering somebody's questions. But the purpose of this session today is to give you the tools to be able to vet somebody before you pay them. I have it a little easier. People get to know me, right? There's been times where I suggested people get to know me a little better first before they hand over, some money. Now we do, we put together group projects and people are impressed by that and they want to participate in the group project. And if they're new, I'm like, just we're not going anywhere. That opportunity will be there. Just kind of get to know me first, right? Because if I'm mentoring somebody, I'm not just teaching them the mechanics of real estate. That's easy, but I'm teaching them to how to ultimately run a real estate investing business, right? And I've been successful doing that. I've made seven figures doing that. I've made seven figures outside of real estate on the general entrepreneurial space, and I made seven figures teaching it, right? So I can teach you how to do that. And that's documented too, by the way. Like for a long time, I would hold all the checks just in case somebody tried to open their mouth and I'd be like, bam. Anyway, sorry. All right. So let's start with experience and track record. So here's 5 questions. How long have you been actively investing in real estate? Legitimate question, right? And I should have an answer, right? Well, it's in my intro. You guys have heard it. Well, I've been exposed to real estate my entire life. I was a broker for over 2 decades. I'm a long-term hold investor. I've had properties in California, multiple cities in Texas, South Carolina, Georgia, Missouri, Michigan. I've invested in properties that I never even seen, even from start to finish. I didn't purchase properties, rehab properties, manage properties, and dispose those properties without ever stepping foot in that city or ever being on the property. Here's the address. You can go into PropStream or any of the other subscription sites. You can check transaction history, and you'll see James Street Capital somewhere down there, right? So that's an easy question to answer. What type of deals have you done? Well, all of them. All of them. I haven't done land development. I just don't want to create a job for myself. And I think there's easier ways to make money. But this is my experience in the multifamily commercial industry. I've overseen $650 million of multifamily commercial assets. I've been through every phase on the operation side, from leasing to the corporate level. I've been a part of construction teams and development teams and all these things. It's documented. All right. Can you share examples of successful deals you've completed within the last 12 to 24 months? I have like 3 or 4, probably 5. I could probably quote right off the bat, right? Can you provide references or testimonials from past mentees? My answer to that is there are no past mentees. Once they're with me forever, because I need to make sure that they're going to be successful. And any challenge they come across, I got to be equipped to help them overcome it, whether that's year 1 or year 5. Right? But everywhere you see me speak, there's a bunch of people in this room, not just the people with those silver wreaths, but people without. They'll look. I tell them, share all the good experiences. And I also tell them, share all the bad experiences. When this bad experience happened, how did Otis respond to that? Right? 100% transparency, which you can do if you're genuinely doing the right thing. Right? Have you personally invested in strategies you teach? Absolutely. Can you provide references or testimonials? That's what I just said. Okay, so that's experience and track record, right? Now, you can also verify my licenses. You can check my broker's license. You can check my my broker's license in Georgia. I don't think it's active right now, but I still have a license in Georgia. You can check my insurance license. I don't practice, but you can check my insurance license. You can go on LinkedIn. I'm very easy to to vet, right? Now, any questions about that before I go into teaching and mentorship approach?
No questions.
All right. So number 2, teaching and mentorship approach, because we're vetting coaches and possible mentors, right? And by the way, folks, I'm disgusted by what's out there. I am. I'm completely disgusted by it, and so I get it. I vet people, ask the tough questions. So anyway, how hands-on is your mentorship program? That's a valid question. That's one a lot of people don't ask. So I explain. Well, we go through virtual classes for about 8 weeks, and we do that 4 nights a week. 4 nights a week. Okay. And for those folks that are at a certain level, I've actually flown out and walked their projects, held their hand down to the most minute detail. Some folks are a little better versed, so I don't need to do that. So my answer is about as hands-on as you could possibly be, because we have a motto. No one is out there trying to figure out what to do next. Period. Okay. Do you offer personalized guidance, or is it a group setting? Both, depending on what you want. We do group settings 4 nights a week. Everybody with one-on-ones, they can call my cell phone, and they do it too, right? And, and I tell them to. Don't make a major decision without talking to me first. If you fail, we fail, because my brand is dependent on you guys' success. All right. Will I have direct access to you? This is important. Will I have direct access to you, or will I be learning from your team? Both. 90% is going to be from me. Every once in a while, James will come in and teach one of the classes. I'm very particular about the people that come in and teach my real estate family. I have a bunch of people that can do it that I've talked to, but are they in alignment with our values? Right? Are they just trying to get a check? And I wrote every single lesson. I teach 95% of the classes, right? So I'm very proud of it, and I'm very protective of that. Right? How do you tailor your teaching to fit different experience levels? And I'll send you guys a copy of this. Anybody that wants it, just email me. I'll send you a copy of this so you can have all these questions when you're vetting somebody. Doesn't just have to be the real estate industry. It could be in whatever industry, right? So how do you tailor your teaching to fit different experience levels? I approach everybody where they're at, under the assumption that when somebody comes in, they have absolutely zero knowledge. I don't take anything for granted. I'll take you from zero to expert as long as it takes. And here's exactly what I'm going to be teaching you. And here's exactly what the agreement is. I can send you an agreement. Look at it, look over it first. Give it to your attorney. Your attorney is just going to tell you it's very one-sided, but in your favor, not mine. All right. 100% transparency 100% of the time. Do you provide deal analysis and feedback on potential investments I bring to you? Yeah, that's a part of the program. And when you're vetting a mentor, they should be able to document everything that they're going to do for you. I over deliver. We do things that aren't even in our brochure, because we have the same end goal to turn somebody into a real estate investor, whatever it takes. There's going to be things thrown at them that could be challenges we got to help them overcome. So whatever it is, right? What do you expect from me as a mentee? That is a question that people fail to ask. What do you expect from me? I expect you to show up and show up again and show up again and show up again. Sometimes not because of how you feel at the time, but in spite of how you feel. Teaching and mentorship approach. That was section 2. Okay. Now we're going into section 3. Now this you would tailor to whatever your industry was. For me, it's investment strategies and deal structuring. What investment strategies do you specialize in? I don't specialize in any one. I have a clear understanding of all of them. Let me say that again for the folks that I have a clear understanding of all of them. And we use whatever strategy works best at the time, right? We're not using your particular strategies. If you want to do tax deeds, there's a way to approach tax deeds. If you want to buy and sell notes, there's a way to do that. If you want to do flips, there's a way to do that. If you want to do multifamily commercial, there's a way to do that. If you want to do this long-term hold, there's a way to do that. If you want to create revenue streams that have nothing to do with the mechanics of investing, there's a way to do that, and I can teach you how to do all that. You see how I answered that question? There's no room, there's no gray area there, right? Now, this is, how do you approach market analysis and deal sourcing? That's very specific, right? So you're probably not going to ask that, because you probably wouldn't know too. But I would give an example. Can you walk me through a deal you've done recently, including numbers? Absolutely. Answering the tough questions is the only way that the real ones, that's the only opportunity to have to brag on themselves. All right. What financing strategy do you teach? Seller financing, creative deal structuring, hard money, private money, conventional lending, a combination of both. We call it dovetailing, multiple strategies at one time. All of them. All right. If it's been done before, I teach it. But do you see how direct my answers are with these questions? If you're interviewing somebody and they start talking and they start getting offended at these, if they start getting offended at these questions, you better run for the freaking hills, or you deserve what you get. That is a telltale sign that somebody is not interested in your success. They're interested in your credit card number. And I've probably turned down more people trying to join our program than some of these other folks. I'm not going to go there. Y'all, so I'm starting to get a hot flash. Manopause, right? Is manopause a thing? Manopause?
Menopause is not a thing, but go ahead. You just finished that thing.
All right. What are some mistakes you've made, and what'd you learn from them? That's a good one. I love talking about the mistakes. I love it. As a matter of fact, I enjoy talking about my mistakes more than I enjoy talking about the successes, because those I grew from those. So I've got, probably fine. I make mistakes all the time, right? I make mistakes all the time. I just have a contingency, and and I try to build in something where I can pull the parachute. But everybody, no one's batting 1,000 here. Somebody came off. Somebody
Hey,
came off. Go ahead, James.
so that was a huge question for us always in our leadership interviews. So when we're hiring senior leaders, we always ask about their mistakes. And what's interesting is most people, especially in an interview, like you're hiring for a 6-figure job, right? You want to say everything perfect. People don't want to acknowledge their mistakes, and they think that they're sounding good in their interview because they say something that sounds like they didn't make a mistake. And we never hire those people, right? What we're always looking for is for people who are humble and can acknowledge their mistakes and can see that, hey, this is where I went wrong in the past, and oh, by the way, this is what I did to correct it, and can articulate that and are detailed, and are able to articulate the results of that. I think that's a really, really good point, though.
Yeah, yeah, man. It's and people can people appreciate that. Right?
Hey, oh,
Yes, sir.
Karen says you sound low.
Do I sound low?
I think you sound good. Karen, does he still sound low?
I mean, it's maybe you may have to go out and come back in. Karen, anybody else? Put a 1 in the chat if you guys think I sound low.
She said yes.
Or maybe all this bass. Y'all used to all this bass.
Step there and tell. Credit Goddess says, be careful from gurus always leading with how much they've made rather than how to listen for the details than blanket statements.
Yeah, so that's really good. That's really good. So we did. I had 1 month, which is a pretty good month, where I made about 215,000 that month, and I didn't really highlight that month to the world in social media. And I broke down the numbers, right? But I also put this disclaimer in there. I only got to keep 12,000 because I incurred, debt, and I had other investors come in and I always make sure that I get paid last. And if anybody takes a loss, I make sure that I take it first. And if no one else gets paid, I don't get paid. I'll give my my portion of the profit so that everybody else could get paid. I'm not going to be doing that forever, folks. But some of these folks were in our real estate family, and you got to protect them the best you can. So yeah, it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep, and that could be really misleading. And also, folks, you learn how to just make a living first. We start talking about 6 figures and 7 figures and 8 figures, and all. Learn how to make a living first. Learn how to make $5,000 a month first, and then we can have this conversation about how to scale that up, right? So that's a sidebar, but just food for thought. Now, the fourth area is results and accountability. What kind of results have your students achieved? Well, and I'm very transparent about that, James. I have students that signed up back 4 years ago, and they just quit, and I haven't heard from them. But I'm obligated to create a space for them to come back anytime that they want to tap back in. I have some students that they went for 3 or 4 weeks, and they opted out of the communication, right? I guess they didn't want to be reminded of the fact that they gave up, right? But and I get it, right? But the doors are open if they want to come back in and start from scratch, and I'll teach them from zero, and I wouldn't require them to pay anything else, right? That's my commitment. I told them, look, I'm gonna be here for as long as it takes. So if you guys tap out and come back in or whatever, that's okay. I understand life happens, and I don't want to make any assumptions, right? My job is just to honor my word to the best of my ability. How long does it take? Does it typically take for your mentees to close their first deal? That's typically, well, we don't track it. We don't track it because once we put that metric in, and I'm answering this question the same way that I would answer it if somebody was legitimately asking it. We don't capture that information because we've got students that had their first deal in 2 weeks. Before they even went through the curriculum, they had their first deal in 2 weeks. And I tell them, look, don't wait until you know everything to do a deal. If an opportunity presents itself, ring me up. I'll just walk you through it, and we'll learn that way, right? But how can I compare that to the single mom with 4 kids that's trying to survive first? She may not get her first deal for a year, right? So that's why we don't highlight those things. And the fact that we don't highlight those things, I have an explanation as to why, and I can articulate it. Okay. How do you keep mentees accountable? Well, I don't. I don't. That's how I answer that question. I don't. And then I leave that awkward silence at the end. It's not my job to keep them accountable. I can have a system in place to keep them accountable, but that's going to cost. That's going to require man hours and more people. And if you're an adult and you make a decision and you don't follow through on what it is that you decided to do, I can't help you with that. Right. And I'm not going to. I'll focus on the people that are holding themselves accountable. If you can't hold yourself accountable, you don't need to be just get a job where you get a paycheck every 2 weeks. And there's nothing wrong with that too. Right. I enjoyed when I was working in the multifamily industry. All right. Do you help with overcoming analysis paralysis? Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a valid question in any industry. All right. Matter of fact, I built this whole program around defeating analysis paralysis. Now I'm answering the question around defeating analysis paralysis. Let's boil everything down to just 4 questions. How about that? I wonder what those 4 questions are. Matter of fact, can anyone on stage, sidebar, can anyone on stage tell me what those 4 questions are to help us defeat analysis paralysis? Oh, hell no.
You said anyone off stage, right?
No, on stage. Anybody on
Oh,
stage?
I was like, anyone off stage?
Anyone
Oh,
on-
it's what does it cost? What does it cost to fix up? What is my after repair value, and how much income can it generate?
There you go. Right. If you can't teach it to where a 7-year-old can understand it, you shouldn't be teaching it. All right. So that's 4. So we went over 4 areas of how do you vet a coach or a mentor. We went over experience and track record. We went over teaching and mentorship approach. This is specific to real estate, but we went over investment strategies and deal structuring, results and accountability. Now we're getting into ethics and transparency. I'm big on. Sorry, I got a phone call.
Hold up, though.
Go ahead.
Taylor May has a comment. He says, "What's up, Taylor May? It's so many people uneducated in so many areas, and that's easy prey for scammers. The lack of knowledge is what keeps scammers thriving. You have to crawl before you walk, then you will be able to run." Go ahead, Taylor May. We see you.
Go ahead, Taylor Made. And that's no reflection on the person. I know sometimes we feel stupid if somebody got over on us. It happens to the best of us, right? It is what it is, right? That's no reflection of you as a person. But now I'm giving you the tools so it doesn't happen again. All right. So ethics and transparency. Do you have any conflicts of interest? Like, do you require mentees to use your preferred lenders, realtors, or contractors? Nope. That's a quick answer. Nope. How do you handle disagreements or dissatisfied students? I don't think I've had any of those. I had one. So I had one person join, and when you guys join, in order for the support, I pay people right away when people join so that they have the support in place. And then I give them access to everything. Right. Now, if they don't show up, there's nothing I can do. But I already, so this person was kind of in the beginning, kind of out, kind of iffy. Almost 2 years later, they're like, "Oh, I didn't invest. I didn't, attend, all the classes. So can I have my money back?" No, no, you can't. You can't have your money back. And it wasn't about the money for me, it was about the principle. And I would have died on that hill. I would have died on that hill. I would have you would have had to kill me to get that money back. Right. Now, on the other hand, there was another woman who joined our program. And then the next day she decided or I think it was it was the next morning. It was before the money even hit our account. She decided to go another direction. I didn't even ask her any questions. I just automatically went. Matter of fact, I sent the money back before I even reached out to her. I said, "Hey, no worries. That's because she's right. And it didn't cost me anything. There was no cost for me. All right. And this was like back when we first started, and it wasn't that much money, but so I just sent it back to her because it's the right thing to do. Right. It's the right thing to do. So, now there's a lot of, there's times where I just don't have a lot of disagree. So because there's no end date, we're never in the situation where somebody went through the program and then they're out there and it didn't work. And then they have to come back. Why would there be a disagreement? And we work with people so closely. It's okay, this isn't working for you. Okay, if it wasn't working for me and I was in your shoes, I would do this. Okay, try this. And then here's another plan of action, right? So we don't really have disagreements like that. Do you offer a refund if I feel the mentorship isn't a good fit? No, because it costs me something to do that. So I'll tell people, look, you should know whether it's a good fit before because there's 100% transparency. I show you exactly what you're going to learn. Take it over. Think about it. Everything's on our website. Pricing's 100% transparent, and we mostly under promise and over deliver. Right? If you took any business consultant and brought them into our company, and by the way, I'm explaining it the same way I would answer the question. Do you see how open I am and how motivated I am to give you a full answer for these questions? If you brought any business consultant into our company, they would, and people have, they would criticize me for not being able to run a profitable business because they don't understand, right? They would. The margins we keep them we keep them low, and it's not, nobody's trust me, right? But people are going to be with me for a long time, and they're already going to know me, and they're going to know that I train them, and then they're going to know that I act with a certain level of integrity with respect to my professional life, right? That's more valuable in the future because we can invest together and do all types of. There's a lot of money to be made. Right? It doesn't have to come from you joining our program. We can make it together once you're educated. So, I share that with people, and this is part of the reason why James takes most of these calls because I look. I don't these calls when the people are coming in. What do we call them, James? What are these calls like? Not orientation, but people that want to sign up. They schedule calls. I don't get on the call because all that call lasts 5 hours because this is my baby. All right. So that is ethics and transparency. Just be a good person. How about that? Let's simplify it as much as possible. Just be a good person. If you're doing business, just be a good person. All right. Just be a good person. And I also document. I keep everything, right? Every conversation, so if there was ever any issues, it'd be hard to. All right, pricing and commitment. What's the cost of your mentorship program and what's included? Now, that should be asked 100% of the time, whether it's real estate, whether it's any other industry, and it's a legitimate question. What's the cost and what's included? This is how I answer that question. The cost is it's published, okay, and what's included is published. It's what's not on the brochure that people really appreciate. All right. Could you put 4 analysis steps in the chat? I missed them. It was what does it cost? What does it cost to fix up? What's it going to be worth when I'm done? How much income can it generate? But just go to our website. Ron, I'm talking to you, Ron. What's up, brother? Just go to our website, 4datapoints.com. I got like a 20-page guide. You can download it for free. So it's yours. Just you can download it. What was I saying? I'm sorry, guys. What's it called? Okay, so it's what's not on the brochure, right? And I'll give you an example. There was one person that joined our mentorship program, and let me see, she in this room. So she joined our mentorship program, and she was just so discouraged. And I just felt it in my spirit how discouraged she was, almost broken to a certain degree. And Holy Spirit said, just go out there and take care of her. And I jumped on a plane, and this isn't the only time I've done this, but this one particular time I jumped on a plane, went out there, and we sat down and we went over all of we could have done it virtually, right? But there's something about being in person. And then we went over all of the different strategies that she was struggling with and all these things. And we probably spent about 4 hours. And then I jumped on a plane and I flew back. That's across the country. It cost me more to do that than she paid to be in our mentorship program at the time. Right. So what's the motivation of that's not good business from a financial aspect, right? It's not good business. So why? Because it was the right thing to do. That's why it was the right thing to do. And sometimes the Holy Spirit, how you do something, and you be like, Lord, are you sure? Because you want to check the tape on that, and and I incorporate a lot of that into not just how I do business, but how I encourage other people to do business. All right. Do you offer payment plans or financing options? So we do offer financing right now, right? And we show you what it is. We show you what it is, right? But we didn't always offer financing, right? But that's a straightforward answer. Either they offer financing or they don't. That shouldn't be a long explanation, right? I just tell people, look, just be responsible, right? If you can't afford to make the payments, and they don't come to me, it's a third party, right? Because I'm not doing all that. They apply for financing, that money comes to them, doesn't come to us. They have to still write us a check, or they still have to pay the normal way. I don't want anything to do with being directly involved with that financing, right? But we offer it through a third party. Are there any additional costs beyond mentorship? Nope. Now, if you're starting a real estate investing business, there's costs associated with that, but that's your cost. That's for your business. That's not for me. And if you want to, if you want, one-on-ones, and that requires more of my time, and I'm only one person, so that costs more. But it's all laid out before. There's no hidden fees. Matter of fact, I do a lot of free stuff for. Look, don't let me get into that. The answer for me is no, but it's a legitimate question. Are there any other costs or hidden fees? Right, like for software, or coaching calls, or event tickets, and things like that. All that stuff should be outlined, and you should see it before you make a decision. Now, the last thing I'm gonna go over is industry reputation and credibility. Are you actively investing in today's market? Yes, I am. Either they are or they aren't. I tell people I'm a real estate investor first, because there's always that little voice that we hear. They say those who can't do teach. So look, I'll go do a real estate investing deal just to do a real estate investing deal. So yeah, I'm actively doing it, and I'm actively supporting other people's projects too. So absolutely, but that's a good question to ask. If they're no longer doing it, then how can they teach you how to navigate today's market if they're not investing in it, right? And the education evolves. There's things that change. That's a good question too that I don't have on this list. When the environment changes, how do we respond to that as an educational platform, right? When interest rates go up 4 times in 1 year, well, guess what? Makes the Burr method a lot harder to do. So what do? I drafted some lessons and then introduced those lessons, and at our weekly roundup, taught those lessons to, for people that have already went through the curriculum. And then we ultimately evolved our curriculum, but some people already took it. So, we make sure nobody gets missed. But that's a good question. Right? Have you been featured in any real estate publications, podcasts, or conferences? That's like, look, folks, I have. I've been invited. Some of you guys witnessed, me get invited to, TV shows and some stuff like that. So I have, but don't fault the person if they haven't. I know some brilliant people that just don't have the notoriety. I threw that question in there just in case somebody is presenting themselves in a particular manner. What's up, Nicole? Presenting themselves in a particular manner. And if you are this larger than life person, where have you been? Where have you spoke at? What podcasts have you been on? Right. So don't, take that one with a grain of salt. All right. And this is the last one. This is the last one that I have. Do you have a professional network that mentees can access? We are the network. We are the network. And one of the things that I'm very serious about is I want to put people in a position where they don't need anybody else. A lot of people will sell stuff giving you access to these networking events and come on this yacht and come to this mansion. There's going to be some heavy hitters there. Why do I want to be there? If I'm just entering an industry, what heavy hitter is going to mentor me? It costs them too much to do that. If it doesn't cost them too much, then they're not who they say they are. Right. So position yourself as if you have no one. No one. All right. My dad told me one day, he goes, we used to, he used to wake me up early and we used to jog around the block. I didn't appreciate it at the time, but I'm probably going to start doing that with my daughter. One of the things he told me that he said, Otis, it's you and God, not even me. Now my dad would die for me in this, but he said, it's you and God. So when these heavy hitters, well, what you guys call heavy hitters, right? They ain't that, They approach me. I've been approached by some, some pretty big people saying, "Hey, we can scale your business up and your workshops and seminars. We can come in and we can scale that up." I'm like, I don't want you to do that. I'm fine just the way it is. And when I get to the mountaintop and people say, "Hey, look how he got there all by himself. I didn't need this heavy hitter. I didn't need that heavy hitter. I didn't need to go to a networking event. I didn't need to be on some damn yacht. Don't need to be in a mansion. I don't need none of that. It's me and God. If God want to put you there, you're gonna go there. And I don't need Joe Schmuckatelli coming over and trying to, improve what it is, right? I've had people say, "Look, we could get you there so much faster." I said, "These mistakes are mine to make. Scaling up, because I appreciate the mistakes and I appreciate the negatives, and I understand that that's how I get seasoned. God ain't gonna put me somewhere before I'm ready. God don't have a college he could send me to be the person that he wants me to be, but he can run me through life and these mistakes and these challenges. So by the time I get there, and by the time all you guys get there, you're supposed to be there and you're not intimidated, and you walk into those rooms with your head up like you belong there, instead of walking with a begging spirit like, "Well, I hope I'm well received. When I walk into this bank, I hope I can get a loan. I hope I can." That's a poor person's mentality, and we all have it. I'm not, exempt from that. But you guys know for a fact that I've walked into governors, mayors, the minister of interior, which is the equivalent of the vice president of. I've walked in there and my head was up because I didn't care whether it worked out or not. What God has for me, he's gonna have for me. So I want to position people that way. That's why we spend so much time when I'm training people. The income's going to come, but I train people how to protect themselves first, how to navigate when they run out of money, how to navigate when their credit takes a hit because they had to use personal credit cards on a deal, which increased their utilization. Now they can't do a cash out refinance because their credit score went down. Now they got to sell the property and they didn't have another one to buy. So now they got to pay capital gains tax. And the situation just compounds and gets worse and worse. I lived through that. I teach people that stuff. You can't put that in no damn brochure. So I'll close with this. You folks in my real estate family, I'm the end all be all for y'all. You guys shouldn't have to pay for anything real estate related anywhere else. If it's something that you want to know, you come to me first and I'll teach it to you. And you don't have to pay me for it. You're already in the family. Okay. Any of you folks that are outside of our real estate family, feel free. I will send you these questions so you can vet people. All right. It's not just specific to real estate. Now, is there any questions about any of this stuff? Well, I'll be getting heated when I'll be talking. Boy, look, don't play with me.
Hey, you went right into your Holy Ghost, bruh. You
Look,
slipped right into his zone.
don't play with me. Look, I done been on food stamps. I done been broke. I done lost everything in real estate and built this back up. I done been stabbed in the back by folks. I done been invited to dinners where there was an enormous amount of opportunity, and I was embarrassed because, even though they said, "Hey, we got it, man, come on out," I didn't have enough money to pay my share. So I didn't know. I had anxiety about what to order. I don't want to order too little because I don't want people to know I don't have any money. I don't want to order too much because I can't afford to pay for it. I've had all those conversations internally. So when you see me on this mountaintop, I'm supposed to be there. Matter of fact, they need to carve my ass into this bug like Mount Rushmore.
You silly.
And I'm gonna get everybody else there too. I'm gonna get everybody else there too. Then I'm gonna tap out and just appreciate it from afar. Right? Money ain't everything, folks. Don't let these people sell you a dream. You can have if you got somebody that loves you and you got healthy kids and you got food in the fridge, you can have a beautiful life making $70,000 a year. I'm trapped. This is me. I'm all the way in. I can't get out. This is the only way forward for me. I have to do it. I didn't burn the ships. It is what it is, right? But let's keep things in perspective too. Being a millionaire, like I live in the Bay Area. Everybody's a millionaire. You still got to go to work. You still got to go to work. And just because you make $1 million don't mean you get to keep it. Right? It is not what you think. My millionaire status is only on paper. I'm cash poor most of the time. That most investors are, right? Making money that's the easy part. That's the easy part. All right. Any questions in the chat before we wrap up?
Nah, just a bunch of some really good comments. People feeling good about what you said. You're speaking facts. Naomi's giving you flowers. Terry Walker says it was your transparency and willingness to share knowledge that sold me on joining your real estate family. I mean, oh, you bring a level of transparency that people just gravitate toward. And I think with what you're saying and with what you're giving, no, they can't get it in other programs because no one's going to take the time to go into such detail to share their story, to give people the backstory, how you came here and based on where you've been. So kudos to you, my brother. Take your flowers and all the bouquets. And then Naomi says, he said he will give us the questions to ask. How is what the M is asking? How is that? How is that what he's asking? Something like that. Sorry about that, Naomi. I think I'm hearing you right. He said he will give us the questions to ask.
Yeah.
And that refers to you, Otis.
Yeah. So I have all of everything that I went over, these notes with all the questions that you should ask. Just email me. You can tap on my bio or just reach out to me wherever it is. And you can email me at otis@4datapoints.com. ODIS at the number 4datapoints.com. And I'll give them to you guys. I'll give them to you guys. But it really, it's not even about mentorship. Yep. But a lot of you guys, most of you guys know I was in ministry for 3 years. And I quit ministry because I still had some spiritual growing to do. And I was, kind of messing up. And one thing I don't play around is with God. So I quit one day abruptly because I still, I wasn't ready yet. Right. But I had something to say. So transparency is easy if you're genuinely trying to do the right thing. And even when you mess something up, it's easy to be transparent about it because you had the best intentions and you understand the value and the learning opportunity associated with that mess up. And I messed up so other people don't have to. That's the way I look at it. And a lot of people are not transparent because they don't want to lift that veil. And me, I don't care what people think. And we all care professionally to a degree because it impacts our brand. So that's not what I'm talking about. I genuinely don't care what people think. Like, and I had to pray to get to that point. Like, look, you will not achieve any level of success if the way you navigate is contingent on what people think about you.
Facts.
Right. And I'm a Tavar. Look, folks, I went to. Okay, I'm not. All right,
you already
I'm
know.
not gonna
You
do
already
it.
know.
I'm not gonna do it.
Don't do it.
I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. Look, I stay in line not because of my moral compass. Sometimes I stay in line because God gave me a pass when I didn't deserve one, and I appreciate that so much. I give other people a pass, and we all messed up at the end of the day. So all right. I'm gonna wrap it up, man. I got some stuff to do. Oh, man, I'm gonna wrap it up. I got some stuff to do, but you gotta just be safe out there, man. Like, the way the world is right now, it makes you ask the question, like, where are all the good people at? Well, my dad, I used to go around and watch my dad do business when I was a toddler, when I was barely able to walk. And man, back then this is the early 80s, back when they used to shake hands, man, that stuff meant something back then. Like, it meant something.
Sure did.
His word meant something. And he did everything in his power to honor his word. And if things changed where he couldn't, he owned it. Right? He owned it. You just don't see enough of that anymore. And that's why I keep my circle close, man, because I like being around real ones. What's up, GA? What's up, country fella?
What's happening, my brother?
What's going on, sir?
Two things. First thing, you didn't quit ministry because you can't quit calling.
You can't, right?
You didn't choose you. You can't unchoose you.
Come on
you
now.
Thought you did.
Come on
you
now.
Just change roles.
Amen. Amen.
Second thing is we meeting tonight.
Yeah. So did you get the email we sent out? There was a last minute emergency, and I wasn't aware of it, and we didn't have time to notify everybody. But I sent an email out a little while ago, and we're going to cover the same topic tonight. Amen.
All right.
Yeah.
That was a Group A meeting, but I'm good with that meeting too.
Oh, the Group A meeting. Let's do. Let me send an email out. Let's do. Is the Group A meeting scheduled for tonight?
I don't know when you scheduled. You were supposed to schedule for last week. You got busy.
I was about to send another email saying, "Hey, do you guys want to do it Saturday?" But let's do it. Let me send out another email to you guys, and I'll see. Let's do Saturday. I'll probably send. There's only 8 of us, but I want the wholesaler and the rehab folks to come in to be in on the meeting as well, because the way we structured this thing was really, really cool. So So yeah, we'll probably do it Saturday. So I'll send out a message to everybody today.
Sounds good.
Amen.
Appreciate you.
See you in Houston, brother.
Sure
Folks,
enough.
we got a real estate.
Yeah.
Go ahead, James.
So I was just going to say before we sign off, folks that are with us on Clubhouse, because we are like omnicast, simulcast, whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
But folks who are with us on Clubhouse, there you go. Folks who are with us on Clubhouse, I put a link to our YouTube stream at the page. So I want to invite you all to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We want to build that up, something that we just started. So you can get us to 180 subscribers.
Oh,
we're getting up there.
We're right up back behind Kim Kardashian.
Hey,
We're getting up there.
We're first 180, next Taylor Swift. We coming, Taylor
there you
Swift.
go.
There you go. Listen, you gotta start somewhere, right?
There it is.
Amen.
So yeah, that's something that we're definitely going to be putting some energy into. So want to invite everybody on Clubhouse to click on the link that is pinned to the page and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks.
Amen.
Hey, real quick. Michelle Riley, what's up, Michelle? She says, can you do it in the AM on Saturday Eastern time zone, please?
Yeah. Well, how much in the AM? Because if you talk about 8 o'clock, that's 5 a.m. for me. But I will record it, and then I can reach out to folks directly and just kind of. But I really want folks to see this because I think it's a good learning experience. So,
with the event in Houston, are you gonna live stream that? Forgive me if you already answered that, but are you gonna live stream that?
No, we're not. It's just
Okay.
there's not enough bandwidth typically at these places to be able to do that. So no, we're not gonna do that.
All right.
Amen. All right, folks. You enjoy the rest of your day. He was talking about the Houston event. That's February 22nd. We're going to do the meeting.
Yes.
The meet and greet February 21st that evening at the Hyatt Regency downstairs in that bar area. We're going to do the workshop right next door at Hyatt Place. Then after the workshop, we're coming back to my suite at the Hyatt Regency. I have it catered and open bar and all that. I'm going to take care of you folks that have those tickets. So we're going to have a good time. And then Sunday, I'm still on the fence about whether I want to walk a project or not. But we'll figure it out. That being said,
Get off that fence and let's get to work in that project.
What's that?
Get off that fence and let's go walk that project.
I may. I'm gonna walk somebody's project. So we'll see.
We're gonna do some running in the morning too. So